everybody, this is Tanya Veit from AAEGlass.com. Thought that I would show you guys my trick to getting really nice powder stencil designs on your glass. We actually have 12 new designs in today, so I thought I'd celebrate and show you a pretty cool trick that is pretty awesome. So I use Bullseye Glass tack gel, the blue stuff, and your choice of stencil. We have stencils in 6-inch and 12-inch. We're using a 6-inch here. You don't need to put tape handles on or anything like that. You could if you wanted to, but let me just show you an easy way to do it. So what I do is I take my stencil, I position it on the glass. I take a little gel here. I'll just kind of come off to the side to my paper and give myself a little bit of a pile of it. Then I take a paintbrush and I actually paint over the stencil, just like this. And there's two reasons for this. And you're not, before I say the two reasons, you're not trying to just glob it on here. You want a nice thin film. By painting the stencil, what's good about this is when I sift the powder on top of the stencil, none of the powder will fall through the stencil design holes because of the fact that this gel is on top of it. So you will have to rinse the stencil in water. It literally takes a second. It takes a long time for this Bullseye gel to dry, but it's worth it to have a perfect stencil design. So I kind of go right over the stencil, making sure I hit every single spot, okay? So now what I do, I'm gonna start with some black. I take my sifter, red sifters, these come in large, medium, and tiny. And then I just put a little bit in the sifter. What you're going to do is use any kind of metal instrument. You can use scissors, I have tweezers here, and you're just going to roll it across the handle and it vibrates and leaves you a nice stencil, a nice powder stencil. So the thing is though, guys, you're not trying to put too much powder in here. You put too much powder in here, everybody, what's going to happen is your edges of the design are going to be fuzzy, because when we pull the stencil away, you'll have so much powder mounded up that it will just collapse in and you won't get a nice fine line. So that's about right. I'm going to go ahead and use tomato red. I'm going to go and kind of fade this in. So if you decide to use 2, 3, 4 colors, multicolor stencils, you want to overlap a little bit the last color and always use your dark color first. And I'm holding my stencil away, I'm holding my sifter away about 2.5 to 3 inches. Also, I am wearing my respirator mask. Please don't forget that, everybody. That's very, very important. You don't want this stuff in your lungs. It's nasty. So then I got some burnt orange. Okay. So I'm going to go over, this is blending we're doing right here. I'm going to go over the last part of it just a little bit. Over the last part of the last color I used. Okay. This is all you should have as far as volume goes, all right? Just a little bit. It's enough to cover the design, but it's enough to just fill in the gaps, but you're not covering the whole stencil, like wiping out the plastic so you can't see the plastic. That's too much powder. So I see I got a little bit over here. Probably would have used a medium in retrospect, but that's okay. So then what I do is I just put one finger down here. I put one up here. Remember, that powder is stuck to the stencil. It's stuck from the Bullseye blue gel just by painting the stencil. I lift it up slowly, I hold the corner down, I go up and over. That was from the powder, and it's a perfect stencil job. I went over the side of the stencil. All I gotta do is wipe that away, no big deal. Look guys, I'm gonna have Amanda zoom in on this for me. There is none of the powder is in between. That's because you painted the stencil on top. Everybody goes underneath, you gotta go on top, okay? So now, I got my stencil over here. You can see the powder right here. I'm just gonna go rinse that very quickly in the sink, dry it, and I can do another application. So that is a cool trick on how to stencil powders. And you can go and buy your powders at AAEGlass.com. Thanks, everybody.